Hello everyone, welcome to another game of Sens, the philosophical role-playing game. Today we are going to do something new and something interesting. We're going to have an encounter and a talk, potentially, with one of the main antagonists against you. So, where we left off last time, your group was trying to escape in hot pursuit with an armored Hoover vehicle. Yet, as you were making your way out, you were ambushed by multiple teleporting squadrons of Imperial soldiers and Admiral Ghaust himself, who jumped onto your vehicle and kidnapped Alexander. And at the last instant of the previous game, Alexander and the Admiral disappeared in a flash of light when he activated his teleporter beacon that looks like a flag. The teleporter beacon is still present at the end of the tunnel where you've just seen them disappear. It is still there, but both of them are not. Meanwhile, Alexander, you now find yourself inside of a very large room that seems to be having a lot of, a water theme going. You look around. Based on the metal structure of the place, you think you are probably inside of a spaceship. There's the low humming of engines in the background, but mostly what you hear around here is the waves and the rustle of water. Not far from where you've just landed is this gigantic pool in which you can see a whale from the ancient times of from the ancient oceans of Earth, surviving inside of this place. And around you, you see a lot of other glass pieces are showing off a lot of marine wildlife being preserved in this aquarium. And right next to where you've appeared, there's another teleporter beacon, potentially one for the destination you've arrived, and the Admiral himself, who's kind of stumbling over after teleporting you both, and who's going to deactivate his armor completely, and start to look down on his shirt where he's been hit by Mitya's attack. And then he raises his head and he says, wait. Let's not fight. I have an offer to make. I just want to talk to you, and I'm about to tell my soldiers to hold off on shooting your people, but only if you accept to listen to me. To talk with me.
Let's hear it.
All right.
Let's go.
So
I'm still just camouflaged, just for reference. At the start of the game, I'm still just hiding.
Okay. You're still in the tunnel on Earth. The only one who got teleported was Alexander. But yeah, you're hidden inside of the tunnel where with the teleporter right now. All right. So you can see the Admiral moves to the computer console here, presses a few buttons, and says, "Stand down. Bring all of our troops back. Let them roam Paris for a little bit." And you hear the order being acknowledged by some underling, and Admiral Ghaust turns around and says, "You can check with your friends, you can communicate with them if you want to make sure that they're not under attack anymore. And I would like it if you could broadcast this conversation to them, since they have blocked me in a rather rude manner from being able to speak to any of you."
I'll turn on the comms, so it's in broadcasting to my friends, and I'll start out by saying, what's going on down there.
Alright.
What's going on with us?
So down there, you're inside of the tunnel. You've slowed down after part of your car was ripped off with Alexander, and right now all enemy fire and teleportations seems to have stopped. You've heard teleportations going off as if there were like more people appearing or all of them disappearing. You're not quite certain. Inside of the tunnel, your vision is limited.
Okay, I'll say, hey Alex, I'm very glad to hear your voice. I hope you're okay. We are still in the same tunnel, and I broadcast the image. Currently there's no fire, and we're trying to hide, I guess.
Good.
Let's try and escape while they're not firing at us.
Book it, sex.
All right. So are you going to keep going with Valérie and head out immediately, or do you want to grab the teleporter beacon that's been left behind?
Oh, I thought that was on the car.
Oh no, it was planted at the entrance of the tunnel, where basically like the Admiral got stuck like against the top of the tunnel and was violently like pushed off of the car, and then he just planted it.
I'm inclined to leave the teleporter behind, because if we bring it with us, we're broadcasting our location.
I do have one question. Assuming we're still rushing out right now in a hurry, or do we have some time? Because otherwise, I might try sneak onto the ship to broadcast the message from last time.
It's up to you. You were just under enemy fire,
I'm
a few seconds.
We don't have time for that. We need to get out of here. We barely escaped with our lives.
Yeah.
Really bad idea.
I was basically just asking the rest of the team, so it's like, do we have time for this, or do we need to?
Go.
I think we need to book it.
Yeah.
All right. So you're making your way to the port. At some point, you have to exit the tunnels. No other choice. And when you're out in the open, you do not see any squadrons of Imperials. You don't see any teleporter beacon. It seems as if you're scot-free. All the while.
Ship's still there?
Oh, right. You are still making your way to the arbor. In the meantime, you're receiving all of the discussion that the Admiral is having with Alexander. So he gets a little bit more comfortable once you've agreed to listen to him. From the console where he had given orders, he's going to grab two glasses that contain red liquid, and he's going to come over to you and hand you one over. It says, "Here, if you're thirsty."
I'll hold it, but I'm not gonna drink it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for talking with me. Let's start off easy, shall we? Glitches, we're supposed to be incarnations of free will, but what does free will mean to you exactly?
The ability to decide one's own fate.
Right. That is generally the assumed definition. Back in the era of serfdom, anybody who was a serf did not have free will, and everybody else had free will. But since it got abolished, the definition kind of changed to be something more vague. When people say free will, a lot of the time they mean the ability to make decisions independently of the world. That is to say, being able to see the world with a lot of clarity and then, while separate from it, make decision. But it's impossible to be separate from the world, since all of us are inside of it. And so every element of decision making is happening in our brains, and our brains are subjected to chemistry. It's just a chemical reaction. So in the end, things that are happening in our brain could be predicted by if someone had the ability to calculate the chemistry of our brain fully. That's the deterministic idea that there is no free will is based on this. Of course, there's also the possibility that there is something that makes us unpredictable, but that would have to be something random, a phenomenon that cannot be predicted. But then it's not free choice, it's just randomness making the decisions for us. My personal definition of free will, after thinking about it for a lot, is that free will is the ability to change your mind once you've been offered new information. What do you think?
I think that's certainly a valid take on it.
All right. Let's try and see if we are true agents of free will, shall we? You see him taking a folder out from his coat, and he hands it to you. It's titled Autopsy of Subject 793.
I'll start reading it.
Okay. The images show a body whose head was blown off, and it's very quickly apparent that this is Akina's autopsy. Admiral Ghaust is going to say, we have found a lot of information on your faction based on your friend's body. First off, I will, as you can read in section 1, the tip of his fingers and extremities had been the veins at the tip of his extremities had been damaged by cold. Multiple long periods of time in the cold, probably training sessions or survival exercises out in a very cold climate. This limits the number of places on Earth where such training could have been done. His diet was mostly composed of mushrooms, which points to an underground area where your base of operation would be. But there were also a lot of other nutrients found in his body, meaning that the place where you are it probably has a large enough population to cultivate different types of food and to trade with the rest of the world to get all of the things that you might not be able to make yourselves. This points to a base of at least 200 people underground in a cold area. Now, we've done a quick search through Cosmo and Rebirth, thanks with this data, and we found nothing, which means your base was constructed after the existence of the glitches, and we are resetting our equipment to be able to look for things not in the shadow world but in the real world. More on top of this, before you cut off all of your locations from me when I first acquired my Resploid, you were heading north, which means in my mind that your base has at least 200 people and is underground in the North Pole. It's only months before I find the rebels, maybe weeks, maybe days, and then the resistance is all over. That's just from one body, and now I've got you and you're alive. So, I'm telling you all of this because I want you to know that your situation is hopeless. The resistance cannot hope to win and escape forever, and it's just a matter of time. So,
That could be said about any person anywhere.
There are so many holes in that line of thinking. There are so many exceptions to Zex's buttering packet. So many leaps of logic.
I just say good luck with the search, but yeah, no. The glitches are already.
Number one, like, yes, we were heading north. Who said we were going straight to the base? Could be a resupply. Number two, like, who says that the cold came from where they were? He could have grown up there, or he could have been on a mission
yeah.
in the cold. There's so many.
Yeah,
There's so many out.
Like, you are quite right. Like, Zex is able to tell, based on the broadcast, that the Admiral is kind of just laying a lot of his cards on the table and playing a guessing game mostly. But you feel like that's not what he's going for all the way. So he's going to say, I would prefer if this conflict could be ended and in a peaceful way. I'm willing to offer the entire resistance the privilege of having their lives spared and not being given any prison time in exchange for everyone's surrender. And this centuries-long conflict can finally come to an end. Now, of course, you'd want to live outside of the Imperial jurisdiction because the Empire sees everything and controls everything. So you'd be able to obtain freedom in the area where your base has been set up. The reason I'm giving you such an offer is because a lot of people on my side are tired of this conflict, and because too many lives have been taken for the conflict created by immortals like the Emperor. And
why don't you surrender to us instead?
He can't hear you because you still blocked him from your resploid, but
I'm just saying this through the
Yeah.
microphone Theo thing anyway. Theo can hear me.
I'm also very worried. The Emperor, after I was found in New York, has adopted me, and he's taught me a lot of things. I've never known the man to lie, and when I asked him, well, after I killed your friend in Iceland, he gave me a specific order. Under any circumstances, I was not, and my soldiers were not to kill any glitches. When I asked why, he waited a long time, but he told me this. He said, the world was made for the glitches. The world ends with the glitches. That's why we can't kill them.
I'm just saying right now through the comms, like, I mean, that would make sense, but he already killed Akina, and I think that's pretty much the final drop for their system. Because they spend so much time on figuring out how Akina's body works that it's probably going to have an effect on their entire system and make it unstable.
that's already pretty true. But they, from what my father has said, all of the lives of all of the people inside of the Empire are dependent on the survival of the glitches, including me. It means if all of us were to die, every effort that has been made by humanity to survive, to prosper, every fight that's ever happened, every building that's been made, every instance of love and friendship would be erased completely. It would be the end of the world. I don't understand how that can be, and I don't understand how my father came to this conclusion, but every time that we go out to fight, you, I, and the people listening to this broadcast, we put everyone's lives at risk. That's why, to me, it might feel like I'm holding you hostage, or the base that I'm threatening hostage as well, but you have to understand that based on what my father has told me, you're holding all of humanity hostage every time that you go into missions and risk your lives. So, that's why I asked you what free will is. Are you willing to take that risk? Are you willing to keep going with what you're doing, or are you willing to apply your free will and change your mind?
After the disaster comes, like, it's already too late. I mean, we're already here, so the system's going to start glitching.
Oh, sorry, my sound got cut for a second. Did you say anything, Alexander?
Not yet, no. I think it is very bold of you to assume that we... I think it's very bold of you to assume that our life force is the thing fueling this entire world. I also think it is very bold of you to assume that we could make a decision based on this very sudden information the second we hear it. I
understand.
We don't know if we can trust you. We don't know. One person's word that sounds like, very frankly, a conspiracy theory is not something that is going to lead us to stop an entire war immediately. We have goals, we have a mission that we plan to follow through on.
I ask that you and the people who are hearing this broadcast reconsider. I know it's only my word that you have, but the Emperor hasn't ever lied to me, and I really believe
He had daddy issues.
that's why I went to all this trouble to kidnap you. It's because I wanted to make this offer.
I will say it is an impressive feat that you've done, but I also think it is very upsetting that you believe you have never been lied to by your leaders.
Especially, since he's given no fucking arguments for why that is the case. Sorry, just continue, Alexander. He just pisses me off. You're being very diplomatic. I don't know how you're doing it.
Continue like this. You're doing a good job. Don't listen to Mitya.
No, you're awesome. Please continue being diplomatic. I admire you. He's a douchebag.
Oh my god.
This is
making fun of the guy by now. It's like he doesn't care anymore. He's not even taking him serious. This last thing you heard him say on comms was, "That guy has daddy."
Over comms, I go, ask for more time to decide on the song.
Is there any
Ask for
possibility we could have more time to think on this and look further into it instead of relying on one man's word within the span of 10 minutes?
Of course. You have until your base is found to reveal, to unblock your armors from mine and to reveal your locations to me. If you do so, you will your lives will be spared, and you will be taken in by the Empire, and your survival will be one of the top priorities of the Empire.
And
You have until I find your base, but after that, I will. You have to know this. There are no women in your base. There are no children in your base. There are no elderly in your base. Every single person who's still on the side of the resistance is an enemy combatant.
if it comes to that, would you try to kill us?
We'll capture you. We'll kill everyone else.
And if we do comply, what would survival for us look like? Would we just be kept alive in cells? Or would we actually have a life alongside everybody else that we're supposedly giving life to? Would it really be a free life?
Have you heard of Dream Stairs on Luna?
I have not, but the name implies a lot.
Dream Stairs is a luxury simulation program. Anybody who wishes can go in there and have their lives preserved inside of a sarcophagus for any amount of time, and while their minds are projected inside of the reality of their choosing. This is what will happen to me. Because I believe that since I am one of the glitches, the fact that my body endures is going to be essential for the rest, for the future of humanity. Right now I'm still needed at my post, but as soon as I am not, that's where I will go. This is the option that will be given to all of us.
Can you ask him if the Emperor said anything about why us witches are essential to the survival of this world? This whole argument kind of hinges on this idea.
Yeah,
right?
ask him if he's actually seen that paradise thing, because powerful figures offering paradise. Be careful.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you even used the Dream Ladder before, or is this just all what they tell you and what you hope it is?
I have seen the infrastructure, and I have talked with people who've been in there. It is considered one of the best luxuries anyone can afford, and it is considered addictive enough that once people run out of money and are forced out of Dream Stairs, most of the time they will do whatever they can to save up enough money to return there.
Meanwhile, I'm actually just whispering through comms like, hey, Zax, do you think you can hack this guy's comm system? Because he was using it to issue commands, and if we can impersonate him, it might be convenient.
Yeah, I don't think I have the ability to.
You'd need to have an access to his console, which right now is
We all have him blocked.
is where Alexander is, but not where you are. There is other stuff that you could hack. For example, the what's it called? The teleportation beacon was one of the options, but you left it behind. Your characters are now arriving at the port. Sorry?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were still in the tunnel or moving.
No, you've reached the port, and you're able to get past security and into your Sub-Zeris. Like you're scot-free. You've got the rune with you. You've got most of you have made it out. All that you're missing is Alexander.
Are we by
Here's-
ourselves in the Sub-Zeros, or do we have any personnel there?
You do have personnel. You have resistance personnel that came in and pretended to like be doing trade in order to act as a cover for your transport vehicle.
All right, here's my plan. So step one would be going to a random island in the middle of nowhere, and then try and make sure that we've lost them. Go thoroughly over the Sub-Zeros. Try and make sure there's no trackers. Make sure that no one's planting a tracker on us. Just make sure that we're completely clean. And while we're doing that, Alexander will probably be dropped off somewhere, and then we'll meet him at a certain point that we choose that he's close to, and then we can do the same process of like making sure that there's no tracker or anything, no bio liquid tracker bull crap, and then after all of that, then we can head back to base.
Alice just says like, I'm good to go.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Heading back straight to base would be more than ideal.
Okay. I'm gonna need everybody who's looking for trackers on the Sub-Zeros to roll for chaos at -30, please.
I'm not gonna bother since.
Can I roll Cosmos to assist with everyone else, like at the tech
Yeah.
aspect of?
Yes, you can.
At -30,
Yeah.
I think it's impossible for me to make this check.
Oh, by the way, oh, sorry. Everybody gets 1 immersion point, and after having reset, it's back to the start of the game. So, like, you reset it, and then you add 1 point of immersion. All right.
Is the Cosmos check at minus?
Yes. Okay. Did you? Oh, yeah. That's with the -30. Okay. So Zex, you are
Cosmos or Chaos?
he wrote Cosmos to try to help you out as a technician. So he is giving you all a +55, which makes both Mitya and Cody pass. So Zex is able to like come up with a sort of like scanner to make sure there are no tracking devices, and you go around the entire ship, and you make sure there's no trackers. You find none. All the while, Alexander is. Sorry.
Just a quick question. I remember who had the money chip. I had the money chip right from last time still.
Oh, you still have. Right, hold on. So give me 1 second. Yeah, you got the money chip from the bank's computer.
Okay, but like that's only traceable if it's actually used, right?
You're not certain because the money that was on the chip previously was not supposed to be traceable according to Michel Citra. But since you just put a lot of credit from one of the biggest banks, it might be. You're not certain.
Yeah, I'm still trying to see if I can do something with the chip and like hand it to someone to like bribe them to broadcast a message from the big ship above.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering like who would be the right person to do that.
Do you want to stay in Paris while we are going?
I think
you guys are all taking detours, right, to teleport thing to the base.
I think you might want to like keep this as a backup and like have it around for when you need to spend it. Now might not be the best time to do so.
Yeah, I mean that was what I was wondering. I figured it's like a money chip. It's not used with broadcast. Otherwise, it would have been fried when the Quadrilla showed up as well.
Yeah.
I figured it's only gonna work if it's plugged in, basically.
Yeah. So Alexander, the Admiral says, "Listen, I know we didn't start off on good terms. I shot your friend.
Very good.
And I am a leader of the faction who opposes yours. That being said, it doesn't mean the two of us can't resolve this conflict once and for all. There have been too many deaths. There has been too much destruction of the Earth from this conflict. It's an ideological conflict that we inherited from immortals whose ideals were already old when halfway through the war. We don't have to do this. I know you stand for free will, and you think that I just stand for this cold science, but it's more complicated. If you... I don't want to keep fighting. And I know many of my soldiers also do not want to keep fighting. I do not want to have to kill you and risk all of the lives in the in the Empire for that.
I mean, it's not like we get a kick out of war either, but...
You've never been offered a chance to exit this war with your lives guaranteed. I'm giving you this now, and until I find your base, that offer stands.
Can you ask him if he has any sort of, breadcrumbs that could lead us to prove that we are so important and that if we die, the Empire is done and everything, like what his father said, so we can investigate it in order to be able to be convinced and join him?
Mm-hmm. Do you happen to have any other resources we can look into to validate your source? Or are we just walking blind right now?
The source that's of my father's theory about the glitches.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't give me anything. All I have to work on is the following thing. He's trying to achieve a certain type of godhood through the perfect knowledge of the rune offered by the runes. He wants to be able to know everything, and that's why one of his endeavors is never to lie, because
do you realize how batshit insane that sounds?
He is focusing on.
He's a very old immortal who has access to a lot of ancient technology. The things he's able to do are hard to comprehend for normal people, but gods can't lie. Whatever a god says is the truth is the truth. So he's been endeavoring for the past centuries to never ever utter a lie. It's one of his main goals. He cares about this much more than he cares about crushing the resistance. That's why he's put me in charge of crushing the resistance. And
ask him if lies include half-truths.
I'm actually just going to tell you that it's through the comm system. He just says, yeah, that's nice and all, but I'm pretty sure he may or may not have met an immortal. And the thing about immortals is, even if they're telling the truth, they're still holding a lot back. And there's a bigger problem. They are pretty powerful people, so it's not really a matter of the fact that anything they say is truth. It's the fact that nobody is really able to resist them. So if they say something is going to be true, it's going to be sure as how convincing. And that's exactly the problem. It doesn't mean that what they're doing is the truth. It just means that it doesn't matter because they can just override anybody else's idea of it.
Here's a question for you. How do we know it is absolute truth and not just believed truth? Because he could be wrong, but he would still be telling what he believed to be true.
well, the best way to do this would be to test the theory, and unfortunately to test the theory, all of the glitches would have to die and the universe to be destroyed.
This is,
Um,
yeah.
one problem with this as well is just what if there's two opposing rune gods that make an opposite statement?
Yeah. I think we will continue with the plan to spend more time considering everything. And
You asked a question, and this is the answer.
oh,
That reminds me, just a little bit out of character, like, Q, didn't you have a battle axe? Still want to see it.
it was materialized and then disappeared, not a real one. But in real life, I do have a battle axe. Yes.
Yeah, that one.
I think we will continue with the plan to look further into this, not make a decision immediately. Is there any way I can convince you to give us a more solid timeline that's less arbitrary?
My best estimates are that your base will be found within 2 months. That's all the time you have.
Very well. 2 months it is.
It's like, okay, guys, so I guess we can just start up setting base somewhere else.
He's going to move to his control panel, and you see him like typing a few things, and you see like the teleporter beacon starts to activate next to you, and just before you disappear, you see the Admiral just materializes his dragon-like Respleoid, and he is going to start just like punching the what's it called? The command board in rage and just wrecking it. And there's a bright flash of light, and you disappear. You see, it seems the entire experience was very frustrating for him. And you appear in the middle of Paris.
Oh.
Just been dropped
So,
off right here.
Alex, care to be picked up? Want a lift?
I think her internet just.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
Damn it.
All right.
Well, we should go and pick her up. Pick him up.
All right. You're starting to head back to pick him up. You are able to make your way out of Paris with not a lot more difficulties.
Before we are leaving the city, can we make sure that we at least act on some of our measures of spreading the word of
Yeah.
we cannot see everything?
Yes, I know that you had started working on this, and from what you can tell, the heist has had a major effect on the news outlets of the on the news outlets around Paris, and somebody scribbled on the walls they can't see everything in not far from the bank, which gets spotted by news anchors as something that does not exist in the shadow world, but does exist in the real world. And so this, it starts to catch on. It's more and more people are starting to notice. And
don't forget that I slipped a lot of people notes.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot. This is kind of spreading like wildfire as you intended. And which ruins any efforts to try and to follow you, because so much of the Empire's detection system relies on Cosmo and Rebirth. You make your way. You make your way back towards the main base. You now have in your possession one of the runes of God, and a file from Soren which mentions her lab in New York. You have completed this mission successfully. And everybody gets a level up, so you can choose an extra talent or psychic power to master. You can choose an extra gear expansion, and you can add 5 facts to your character sheet. And we're back after leveling up. All right, so
I'm gonna run real quick to the bathroom as well because I was still busy.
yeah, okay. All of you, after checking that you're not being followed for certain, as far as you can tell, you are able to reach the North Pole base once again, and you arrive at the docks, and you're greeted by the military. Once again, like you exit the vehicle, seeing that there's lots of faces that are really happy to see you. There are a few grim faces, like some there's some bad news, but nobody wants to be the one to break it to anybody else. You haven't done your mission report yet, so nobody really knows how things are going. So you get to where the general is at the edge of the port, and he salutes you and says, "Glad to see you all made it alive. We saw the cruiser. We detected that the cruiser above Paris started to use teleporters, so we were really worried. How did everything go?"
Is there anybody else present? Like, there's people around us.
Yeah, there's some civilians in the background, but mostly like workers, but mostly like military personnel.
I will do a perfect salute, have a big smile, and say, I think we need to have this conversation in private.
All right. So he is going to take.
Alistair still stoutly says that it was just a Cordilla. We took care of it. Don't worry, you know.
So Central Command private or my office private?
Central Command private.
Okay.
Because there's very good news. And I wink.
Okay. So you see him saying, "I wish I could say the same." All right, follow me.
I didn't get it. Damn it.
All right. So once you get inside of Central Command, the general is going to sign and say, "All right, before we begin, Team Alpha was sent on an exploration mission in Sydney, where we'd been getting a lot of strange radio signals, like that we couldn't really explain, that couldn't really be explained by the normal way physics is supposed to work, and they lost one of their members, Samuel Krabby, and never made it back. His body was found by the rest of the team after he broke off from the rest of the team for a little bit, but he we're going to hold a funeral for him very soon. We've already announced it to most of the base's population. This is our this second official glitch casualty, but first actual glitch casualty.
Damn it.
All right.
What was the cause of death?
He was hit by energy weapons. It's uncertain as of yet if those were Imperial weapons or Quadrilla or something else.
Did they investigate it for trackers?
We always check for trackers on the way back.
Would it be possible to examine his body, maybe?
It was left behind by his team. They were trying to retreat as fast as possible, and they ensured it was him, and then they left him there, unfortunately.
So I will ask them about the video footage when possible.
Make sure that there's no tracker on the body, because we know for a fact that they take great care in analyzing the dead.
Yeah, that's what I meant as well.
We have a lot to tell you, General. Some of it that's good, most of it that's literally the terriblest thing that has happened to us since '96.
It could have
Are
been
you
worse.
ready?
And that says a lot because I'm in this team.
Okay. So, good thing we killed a quadrilla.
That's
So,
awesome
propaganda-wise, really good.
news.
I
Yes.
did great. I had great fun. Just like this Cordilla was no match for us, and you just stand there and it's like
You're
happy
beaming
thought,
with
happy
pride.
thought.
Okay. All right. Gladius says, "All right, that's very good optics. That's
We also robbed the bank without going into the shadow world, thus creating the biggest possible rift we could
No,
between the
we
real world
were in
and
the
the shadow.
Shadow World.
but just for a small amount of time, and you didn't really steal anything from
Only
there.
in the
So
basement.
timelines are very different.
We found Soren's vaults. Inside were documents about his lab in New York.
I didn't know she had a lab in New York.
Yeah, neither did we. So
Mm.
that's really good. We could go there and see something. Also, we found something that we suspect might be a rune of God.
Sorry, what now?
Yeah, this is just pure speculation on our part,
Okay.
but it may be a rune of God.
Can you show it to me?
Who's got? I think it's Cody.
I have it in my pocket, and I take out a piece of cloth.
Okay.
Is the rule like this big, or is it like this? I don't know what's the size. Of
It's about this big, yeah.
Okay, so I have it wrapped up in the cloth,
Definitely move us close to you.
and I will put it down on a table and open it up so that it's visible to everybody.
Okay. Is it dangerous to the touch? Am I gonna melt if I take it?
We are not sure. We are aware, though, that we got attacked by the quadrilla and following by the Imperial Army the moment we touched it. So I think it's kind of our assumption that touching it kind of revealed our location to them, maybe, or our attack.
Alistair is a little bit too interested in the rune. He's just walking up to the rune and he's totally just sticking out his hands, totally like, I want to.
The general is going to hit your hand. Your breastplate armor just materializes to protect you just in time, so you don't feel a thing when the general just tries to slap your hand away. And then he. Oh, everybody gets an extra immersion point. So you're now at 3 above your starting value. Okay. He says the records don't show these to be dangerous as far as I'm aware. I'm gonna have scientists. The entire team. Cody, can we put your team to study to take a halt from the accelerator cannons and take a look at this instead?
Yes, I'm sure there's some people that would be very interested in that, and I would be glad also to stay in the loop about this research.
We
Also, has anybody seen the treasurer? Actually, I might have something that makes him happy.
Michel Citra, he's currently working on this year's budget, so he's not available right now. But I can relay any information you have for him.
So I decided that we had that mining ship for him, and we might have emptied it. But while we were robbing the bank, we overloaded it. So we have a lot of money, but it's traceable. But he might have a purpose for that.
That's very good. Did you fry the computers when you were there? Right, perfect.
The quadrilla did that for us, actually.
They were very fried.
Okay. And that's perfect. In this case, we are going to be at the definitive financial advantage thanks to your efforts. All right, what are the bad news?
Okay, so we met up with General Ghaust, who had a little conversation with Alexander. And
I'm surprised you didn't
suspects...
just shoot him. You had a talk with him.
Oh, we tried.
Oh, he was alone with General Ghaust in the middle of an Imperial cruiser. It's so complicated. That was a hiccup on our way out. He ended up getting kidnapped.
Well, I'm glad you made it out alive.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But General Ghaust suspects the base is in the North Pole due to the fact that his team made inquiries about the cadaver of Akina. And he has basically put an ultimatum on us. Present tradition. Inside the 2 months he estimates will take him to find us in the real world. Or total death and annihilation.
2 months,
Regarding that, I would say we might need some additional basis of operation within the month.
2 months. That is longer than our estimates were. We knew that he'd be able to gather some information from we knew that he'd be able to gather some information from Akina's body, and we were thinking it was that we had less time.
Now this is information from.
That is 2 months. Just give it a month tops.
This is information from Gas, who said I would not think that it would be 2 months exactly. He might be giving us. He might just be telling us it's 2 months. It might be actually. So that's something to keep in mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially if you have intel that says otherwise.
Yeah. We are keeping a close watch on all of this, and we have backup plans. Unfortunately, all of you are leaving the base regularly and getting at risk of being captured by the enemy. So I cannot tell you anything about those.
That's fine. I wouldn't remember them anyway.
Good.
By the way, on that subject, do we have any anything we can take to, if in case we get captured, death and some suicide pills or something along those lines?
Just walking away again, like nope.
You, with your rest fluids and the shadow powers, it would be very hard for you to be taken alive, and it would be very easy for you to escape anything that can't follow you from one world to the other. So your instructions are always to try to escape and survive as much as possible, or die in battle.
Oh, we discovered something interesting too. I just remembered. Okay, so this is Ghost version of the fact. So apparently, the Emperor considers that the glitches sort of are linked to the whole Empire, and that our being alive is essential to him. So he seems really reluctant to actually kill glitches.
Which is why, if we have a suicide method, we can use that as leverage.
Plus, but also that maybe something like, this is an information that we need to know. They don't want to kill glitches, so Krabby's death might not be an act of the Empire because they don't want to kill glitches. Plus,
they might not want to kill glitches yet.
Yeah, we don't know. This is Ghost's version. Maybe he's lying through his teeth or being lied to.
All right.
I think actually there might be a problem for them as well, because they do realize we are glitches, but I think the people we have been in contact with for longer times are not really being picked up by the system properly, and they might not know who is a glitch and who is simply being in excessive contact with us.
Yes.
So they might just simply just think that the glitches are just regular civilians not on their map.
All right. That's a lot of information. That's very good. I will need a full report on the quadrillis capacities because we have not been able to have anybody observe them in combat, close range, and survive before. So
I think I got that covered.
all right, good. Congratulations on your work, everyone. Thank you for warning us and confirming our fears that Ghost is making his way here. And great job on your mission. I'm probably going to send you to New York next. Based on what you've told me, we have to find Soren's ellipsis now more than ever. The problem is New York is a complicated situation.
Sir, without trying to be disrespectful, I think it would be an interesting step to maybe have a larger scale conversation about the goals and kind of maybe also core values of the rebellion to kind of see where we are going with this, considering that our time in action will more and more change the way that the world and the shadow world are connected. So maybe we need a plan, like a larger plan, instead of wandering from one clue to the next.
I am taking care of overseeing the larger plan. You might not be able to see it because you only go on individual missions, but the resistance has had values and a general direction for a really long time. We are trying to preserve free will, and we are trying to bring down the Empire. That has not changed. Now, this is going to have to go through acquiring as many resources as possible. So the rune of God that you acquired, we can try to find a way to use it somehow. Finding Soren's ellipsis is one of our main resources. Finding ways to destroy the quadrilla, and since you've done so, you've acquired more of those resources, and then we find ways to use those resources. That's if you if that's what you were saying, then don't worry, we have it covered. If what you were arguing for, on the other hand, was the philosophy, you want to discuss the philosophy of the resistance, I can assure you we've got plenty of people, civilians who've got it covered, who've written essays about all of this. You can try to discuss it with them to get all of the details.
Yeah,
If
you want, there's a club in the basement of where I live. Old cougars, like old factory workers, and they go over Saturdays, they play cards and they drink, and they say it is a political meeting. And I think you would enjoy it greatly.
That sounds amazing. And
Meanwhile,
sounds like I want to
Alistair
go.
just walked over to the table and he's trying to touch the room.
Nobody's really paying attention to you. You manage to touch the glitch and the rune, and you start to get this. All of your sensors start to get overwhelmed. So basically, like you're starting to get visuals on your. So your armor activates. Your respirate armor activates. You start to feel sensations. Come onto your arm more and more. It feels like at times it's been crushed or being pulled from the void of space. It feels like you're touching pebbles and animals are walking all over your arm. It's spreading all throughout your armor. You're getting like flash of images and distorted com information from your visor, and hearing more and more sounds that are extremely varied, from the sounds of animals to the sound of nature to just strange sounds you've never even heard before. And your sense of smell is also starting to get overwhelmed by a lot of different things. And after you holding it for like 30 seconds, your teammates are going to start getting radio communications from your armor that is starting to send like information to them. So for example, you're broadcasting some of the images that you're seeing on your visor unwittingly to them. And it's starting to like it's starting to
having the time of his life. Like, this is lovely chaos.
Mitya, you're getting a call from Quinn Jacobs, and he's saying, "Hey, what the fuck is the thing happening to your armors as well?"
Yeah, it's happening to. Oh god, I've got a headache. It's Alistair. I'm gonna stop him right now.
And
I
smack him for me, please.
This is nice.
Smack Alistair for. Smack Alistair in the head
I'll
for me.
smack him. I just grab Alistair by the collar and yank him off the rune.
Yeah, you take the rune from his hand, and
Disappointed.
okay. The flow of information kind of halts for a second for everybody, but since now Mitya is holding it and his armor has activated,
I drop it
immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, it all stops. It all stops.
Alistair, you are aware that you just probably transmitted our location directly to Ghost?
I think that might have been a comms fault, and they might not realize.
God.
Alistair, we just talked about how this could have potentially revealed your location inside of the vault.
Yep.
Yeah,
Listening.
well, he's a dumbass. Okay, Alistair, look at me. Quinn Jacobs just asked me to smack you. I'm not gonna do it, but you owe me a favor. Are you fine with that?
Yeah, sorry about it, guys, but
Okay.
this rune is really fascinating.
I'm gonna put it in our security vault now and get your team of scientists to observe it.
Please.
Like the general just picks it up with the cloth, careful not to touch it, and is just like taking it away. And after that, he's Bean. So your character Alistair is put on radio duty to observe if the Empire is having any major movements of forces in your direction for the next 2 days. So basically, you like to cover up the fact that you just put everybody's lives in danger. You're watching to make sure you didn't put anybody's lives in danger. While he's doing this, the general's coming back with the image that you've been seeing in the background for a little bit, and he says, "This is what New York looks like at the moment."
And he shows us this image?
Yeah, the image that's in the background, like the.
Is there a white dome?
Yes.
What? In the middle of New York?
Yes.
Ooh.
So is this? Are we looking at a photo of an explosion, or is there a white glowing building in the center of the city?
There's a white glowing force storm in the center of New York. It's been happening not since the Battle of New York, but it started a few years after that. We don't really know what caused it, but we do know that the Empire has the Imperials have finished evacuating the city fully, and they have a research team and a fully armored regiment near the phenomenon trying to observe it. It is blue in nature, and it creates blue lightning constantly. So it is assumed that it's associated with quadrillas. We don't know why it's like this, but we have never sent anybody in there because based on what information we've stolen from the Empire, it's very dangerous, and nobody who's ever gone inside of that dome has ever come out alive. So, okay.
So you can walk through you can walk inside though. Like, did people go inside?
It has been attempted, but no communications with the people inside stopped completely. and so there's no more data about their survival.
They haven't come back out, I assume.
Never.
Cool.
The address on the file that you got from Soren Solipsis, I'm afraid the address is inside of the perimeter.
Damn.
Of course it is. I
Of
mean,
course it was.
Does it exist in the Shadow World, the singularity?
No, it's in both the Shadow World and the Material World. And whatever event caused it happened in both realities.
Yeah.
That reminds me, those Cordillas actually, I beat one up real good. I don't know, it got distracted or something. It seemed to freak out about. I don't know what it was freaking out about. I think it tried to do something and it messed up. Which tells me they know shadow powers, but they're not really that much in control either. But the Quadrilla had this kind of armor that it didn't stop anything specifically, but it slowed down movement through it. So if you shot at it,
so hold on.
well, it would slow down.
So you killed off the Quadrilla in the Shadow World, right? That's not that much of an advantage for us if it's dead in the Shadow World. It's more.
No.
No, it was
We
just
killed
a
it in the
normal
real
world. It
world.
was actually here from wherever it came from.
So
And it was definitely aware of the Shadow World, but
it was using shadow
something-
powers.
Yeah.
it was using shadow powers in the real world, but it wasn't going that great. It seemed to have some kind of feedback which caused it to become paralyzed, and I just shot it to pieces, but it didn't
Yeah.
seem that like it would last. So
He also said before or during his death that his existence was because of us. That the Quadrillas existed because of the glitches. And, okay, you know the theory. I'm going on a limb there. I've got a million theories. But you know the theory about, because of Cosmo and Rebirth, there's a Shadow World. But inside that Shadow World, there's a Cosmo and Rebirth, and so there's a Shadow World.
Yes.
Okay, what if we were the Shadow World of another reality? And the fact that we exist in this one make the other reality produce Quadrillas or something like that. Because if the Quadrilla was in effect in our world, in the Shadow World for his reality, he might be able to use psychic powers in the same way that we can do it in our Shadow World.
Right.
Maybe there's something along those lines to be considered.
I think that's a very, very valuable thought, actually.
We need you to confirm this, because if our goal is to destroy Cosmo and Rebirth and we happen to be inside of one of those simulations, then that kills us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we have. That's why I thought about rethinking what our strategy is, because I think destroying this nested dimension system doesn't really seem like a useful or moral even goal to achieve. Whereas free will and independence is.
Right.
Also, I'm sorry, but I've got a question. I'm not well versed in science. Do we know how Cosmo and Rebirth actually work mechanically?
It's many essays have been written about this. I have tried to understand them as best as I could. It's a lot of so the runes are supposed to be able to they're constantly emitting data about the Shadow World. Now the way to interpret the data is very difficult because it's it took decades for Mythos and Soren to be able to realize that it was a sort of language, and Cosmo and Rebirth are basically just a gigantic translation machine
Device.
who's interpreting the data from the runes. Now, the data might not be complete, just like you mentioned that the laws of physics were not complete inside of the Shadow World.
Yeah.
And
Complete.
so the way that most people are able to interact with the Shadow World tablets is by asking the Shadow World to the Cosmo and Rebirth to provide one information. So you could look for somebody's name. You could look for an address. You could look for an event like a supernova, and Cosmo and Rebirth would find that information inside of the runes and display it on a computer. It's mostly visual, but it's supposedly it's this strange language that the Cetantwa aliens spoke that is being translated into visual effects that we can understand.
Okay.
So, basically, when I touched the rune, I was also getting information from it. It seemed really vague, but on the other hand, it does seem like the system works in the same way.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I have to go for a while. So sorry, my door is ringing.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll be back.
Right. Okay, we'll reconvene at another time. You are all going to have a few days off. I'm gonna give you all a week off before I send you to New York. Recover from what happened and train a bit more, and then I'll see about sending you to New York to complete to further investigate.
Sounds good.
Right. So, as you leave Central Command, where are your characters going to go?
Well, I think I have reconnaissance duty or something.
Yeah, you have radio. You have radio duty in command, in Central Command. You're staying there.
Yeah, I think right now
Okay,
we all have
like,
bathtub
is there a
duty for a while.
Cody.
Is there a portable radio?
Okay, hold on. Cody, what did you say?
I think for now we all have bathtub duty for a while.
Yes.
That's what Cody says, and he's starting to pour hot water through the hose construction into the pool.
Right. You start to pour hot water in the tilted pool that's also broken since last time. That wasn't repaired.
Well, then I wouldn't do that, of course. Then I would start trying to work on it for a
Okay.
bit.
All right. Roll for creation for me, please, Cody.
I can do that.
For quick reference, am I walking around with a portable radio, basically?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, no. You're staying in command in front of a radio system and listening in for any movements that the Imperials might be doing. So basically, like you're on like one of the boring duties for 2 days at least. And Akina, it's what Akina was on when he heard the signal coming from Iceland. So maybe you'll hear something interesting.
Yeah, Alistair is not very well concentrated. He's just gonna look at the system and like, can I put this on a portable radio?
No.
Actually, while I'm working on this, and can I go out and maybe grab some more materials that would be needed to turn it into a functioning whirlpool?
Whirlpool?
Like a bubble bath. I don't know, like.
Sure.
Zek's had enough of this stuff. He's just gonna go and do maintenance on his weapon.
In that way, I could use my peer talent, which gives me a +10 to a creation test when I'm interacting with people from the base.
Nice. So, right, it's +10 to social tests, but you can acquire those things more easily when you're okay, because you're a peer. So are you going to just try to requisition the materials you need from like an industry. Okay, roll for
like a small air pump and like a bunch of little airtight hoses and like glue material and stuff.
Nice. Roll for creation with peer to get those materials. Nice. Okay, that's a pass, and you're gonna be able to install them and like not only repair but upgrade the.
Nice.
Hey.
Also, Alistair is just going in the comm system. He's listening to all the comms and he's just trying to tap into comm systems, listening to him and stuff. He's like, "What's going on over here?" He's just like trying to hear if he can hear any gossip or information around the base, like about any of the teams or any of the other people that are of interest, like the general or something. If he hears rumors or stuff, and he's just like.
Okay, you got it. So roll for chaos to see if you are able to get any of that.
Also, take a knife, add a little arrow next to the Mark 1 so it becomes Mark 2.
You got it.
Alistair's learning a lot of new things.
Okay, so Alistair, one of the things, so from spying on the comms of the base instead of the ones outside of the base, you are going to learn that there is, oh nice, somebody already made it Mark 2. You are going to learn that currently what's on the mind of the people of the base is mostly that, like another glitch has died, and people are like people are mostly talking about this. This is like the talk of the town at the moment. Okay.
Like anything interesting about our team or something? Rumors about
you all came back alive, and people are happy about that.
Then, besides that, I'm also going to check on the comms outside.
Okay.
I mean, I am sort of responsible when I want to be, anyway.
Okay.
But I'm really focused on the rumors.
Yeah.
That's, another thing also, I guess.
You're going to check, and apparently the Imperials are not moving in response to you touching the room. It seems that they might not have detected it, or it might not have been what caused them to set off their trap in the first place at the bank. So that's gonna be it for what you're doing. Zex, I heard you say something about weapons. Reese?
Just performing maintenance on them.
Okay, got it.
Also to just kind of relax and decompress after it.
Yeah, you got it. Alexander, your body is still kind of wounded from the whole experience. What are you going to do?
I guess I should probably stop by the med bay.
All right. Okay, everybody gets an extra point of immersion. So you are okay. So Alexander, you're going to go and start the long recovery process of recovering all of the wounds. I think you regain 2 wounds per day when you're under care. So you're going to be able to regain. At least, no, actually with the equipment it's going to be 3 per day. So you recover 21 during the week that you are in the base.
That takes me back up to normal health.
Alright, perfect.
Yay!
Also, just for specifics, the comm system in the base is connected to all the areas in specific. How do I go about broadcasting or contacting specific areas?
It's basically like a the World War I radio computers where you plug cables that are and the dots and the places are like the different holes that you can plug it in are labeled to where the information is going to, basically things like that.
Yeah, so Alistair's just going to try and order food through the system. If somebody can bring him some food. And he's not specific checking. He's just like, what cable seems important? Where was the comms again? He's just reading labels.
Okay.
It's like, is there something that says kitchen or cafeteria?
No.
In that case, he's just going to prank call the general.
Okay, well, you are going to be on radio duty for the entire week instead of just for 2 days. All right.
Yeah, this is just the second day because he was already interested in the comms and now he's bored and he's like,
Yeah.
what can I do with this system? He's gonna prank call the general and
That's,
just like say, hey, general, how are you doing?
That checks out. Okay. All right. What is Mitya going to do during the week of rest that you have between 2 missions?
Can I think I'll write a little note saying something along the lines of, guys, we know how it feels. If you want to do weird shit like steal a crate and make a bathtub in your apartment and just cause all lots of problems, it's fine by us. Be well, take care, and I leave it in the apartment of the team alpha.
Okay.
Discreetly.
Got it. The when you wake up the following morning, the Akina Mark II is no longer in. I'm kidding.
Okay.
What day is this? Is this like day 2 of that week? Or day 3? Am I still on duty?
Hmm?
Am I still on duty? I mean, I'm just assuming we're going through the week now, whatever.
Yeah, like you have time to sleep, but you are going to be on duty, on radio duty for the entire week.
Can
I
I
had
also?
comms duty for 2 days, right? So that
And
you
f-
should
Yes,
find-
and then when you prank called the general, it got extended to the entire week.
Okay, so can I sort of fly something by everybody, because I've had a horrible idea. It's not a project, it's just like when Alistair touched the room and it started to propagate to all of us, I just had a terrible, terrible fucking feeling. So, bear with me. I don't know much about the specifics of how Cosmo and Rebirth is built, but imagine there's a lot of people like us. A lot. And one of them touches a rune that overloads the sensory perception of one person by a truckload of information. Now suppose that we were enough glitches to sort of not be overwhelmed by that sensory information.
I was doing great.
Did we just not invent Cosmo and fucking Rebirth, the biomechanic version? Because
That's
I
sort of
think
what
the
I was
Emperor's
saying
plan.
earlier as well. Like
Technically,
if we touch a rune, that's like the same mechanic. That
Yeah.
it broadcasts information, and Cosmo and Rebirth is basically translating that information. We were just reading the raw information.
Yeah. So now the Emperor's plan, according to Ghost, wasn't it to put us all in some sort of a weird machine that simulates a reality? Like, I have no idea how it is, but now I have a lot of questions, essentially. Especially about Cosmo and Rebirth. I don't know.
well, I think the question about the simulation is quite an interesting one.
Now, if I might say something, Dreamstairs is on Luna. Cosmo and Rebirth is somewhere on Mars, according to Imperial information.
Yes. But I think it becomes an interesting one when we think about kind of how to work with these universes. Because what Cosmo and Rebirth does is technically defining it as like a copy. right? Like everything is the same than here, and we use it to like see something that's happening in our world. But we know that that's not really true, because we can influence things here that don't change there, and then we can go there and we can change things there. So technically it's really not a copy. It's more like its own thing that's like super similar. And yeah, I think in that way it's kind of hard to think about it as like a simulation that like should be destroyed or something like that, especially considering the like nestled kind of nature of it, apparently.
Yeah. I don't know. But still, what if Cosmo and Rebirth is just the previous generation of glitches that were all caught by Mythos Quadrilla and put into a machine that reads the runes? I don't know. I don't know anything about Cosmo and Rebirth, and I fucking want to know now.
Yeah, me too. I also
Because we
wonder
could
if the
do-
I
runes
want
are
another
really just
rune.
like a broadcasting device, or if the runes are actually containing it, you know? Like,
Yeah.
that's something that I also...
Really
I don't know
weird.
if it's important, but I'm definitely curious about, like, if the runes gets destroyed, like, do we lose connection to it, or is it, like, do we destroy it, you know? Like,
And they
Well-
don't exist. And this one, the one we got, doesn't exist in the Shadow World. So.
The
least
room
not
we
in the same
had
place.
also looked sort of like a puzzle piece. I would say, what if we try and find another rune? It's not gonna be easy, but seeing as these things are basically energy sources, I think we could pull it off somehow. I mean, it was really entertaining when I grabbed that thing. I want to do it again.
A puzzle piece, you say?
Yeah, I just noticed that earlier, that if you look at the notches on the thing, and you superpose the notches on the left and the notches on the right, you get this the symbol, the lab symbol from Soren's ellipsis, I think. Because you have the two sides and the crossing. I don't know. Just looked like that. It looked similar.
As
I
I
mean,
said, like
it definitely
has
looks like a
something-
key or
looked like a
something like
key,
that to me.
or either a key or a puzzle piece. I would say there's probably a way to add runes to each other, and it's probably gonna just mess up something immensely, but it's gonna be fun to try.
Yeah.
From what you know, Cosmo and Rebirth is made from two of the Setantra objects called the Runes of God.
What if we add more?
I mean, this definitely could be used to build the lab symbol if it's one of the side pieces, right?
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
What I mean is that if you look at the notches, the four notches, if you superpose them, it makes the symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes this
Yeah.
and this.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, okay, I mean, it's a piece of metal, it's either a key or a piece of a puzzle. I would say, personally, would have to find another of them.
Maybe it's
But
also a
I
hammer.
definitely want to try and mess with this other thing we have.
And which is why you are on radio duty, because you want to mess with it. Cody, your team is kind of sidestepped away from the Railguns of Death project and put on the study of this object. It's not necessarily something that you basically, like, when you go and check in on them every now and then, you're going to get the sensation that their orders are, how do we weaponize the rune? The orders are trying to find a way to use the rune as a way to have an advantage in the war. Which is what, like, essentially, like, the orders given by the general or the Council of the Resistance are. And when asked to do this, your team is a bit at the loss of whether, hey, do we try to create our own Cosmo and Rebirth machine that we can observe the Empire with, and maybe see if the glitches are in this one or not, and things like this, or like how else can it be used? Because it's mostly just a piece, like something that provides a lot of information. So really, like they're spitballing a lot of ideas, but also but at the same time, you can see that some of your coworkers are like uneasy about the idea of using the thing you're supposed to destroy as the resistance as a weapon for the resistance.
Okay. So I would like to tell them that it's great that we get the resources to work on something that's interesting like this. And I understand that the protocol from the general is that we are trying to use it in a militaristic way or weaponize it somehow.
Mhm.
But I think we should kind of do the NASA route, where the research that we're doing is definitely funded by like military interests. But I think that as scientists, we should be more interested in the nature of this thing, how it works, and how it influences our lives, than directly weaponizing it. So I think we shouldn't be afraid of doing the research, but we should also be wary of kind of like what it is, not just what it can do.
As just says, like, I mean, we already know that Cosmo and Rebirth isn't all powerful. It's the same with this rune. They're interesting and they provide information, but what matters is what you do with it. So figure out what it does first, and then see whatever you do with it.
So they are going to go in that general direction and study how, like, what the rune does first, and then how to weaponize it, like, much later down the road.
I mean, like, I'm less interested in like how it works, but like not just what it does, you know, like, but like how it functions.
Yeah. So the study reveals within 1 week reveals the following things. A, it's made out of phyllonite, just like your armors. B, it does not transmit anything when a human just comes into contact with it, unless if they have a resploid armor. It's constantly like emitting data, but accessing it is easy. It's producing data from every single molecule of it, like, constantly. So getting the means to store all of this data and then translate it is just like a project, a monumental project. And another aspect that you find is that the rune does not ever go into the shadow world. Team Alpha is going to be sent, like, to do tests on it. So every now and then you're going to have like the overwhelming sensations of somebody's touching the rune somewhere during the week. And they try multiple things, but they are never able to move it outside of this reality.
And also just like, do they have Repsiloid armor? Because maybe it works if you try and put it into the armor.
We tried that.
Yeah.
We did that already.
Yeah, it's overwhelming for everyone who has a Resploid armor, and B, it's also like it does not allow, like, the rune just stays in place when you move to another world.
There is another thing that I would like to do in the time that we have.
Yeah.
I would like to go to my greenhouse, look at my plants for a bit, and I would like to start writing a book.
Okay.
And the draft will be called On the Possibility of Interdimensional Communities.
Ooh.
And I want to start with a chapter. That's the thing that I want to work on this week.
Okay.
Referencing a lot of Soren's work, specifically explaining the idea of the kind of nested universes and the idea that we are possibly just part of this long chain. And I want to go into questioning them as some, like, possibly seeing them as existing next to each other than inside of each other.
Okay.
because we already know that the glitches can introduce differences, so that they're not copies, and we should kind of see them as equals.
Mhm.
And yeah, trying to find like a way to introduce that this book should be about the like ethical and cultural consequences of this like interdimensional existence.
Got it. Okay. I'm gonna need you to roll for creation to get started on like writing a premise and how you're going to go about writing the whole thing.
No.
Okay. So yeah, it takes you a bit of time, but because of all of there is so much work going on in the greenhouse that you're really having a hard time just like clearing your mind, clearing your thoughts, and focusing on writing this. So it's just not going to happen the way that you wish it did. But after, but you do have like some of the theory
to get some ideas down.
Yeah, like your main problem you think is that you haven't written things previously in that fashion. So right now it's kind of like a first draft type of
kind
thing.
of like I'm usually like I'm familiar with translating the scientific work that Solon did, but writing more about the like philosophical side of things and cultural theories, like I have to do a lot of research on that.
Yeah.
Probably.
All right. Theo, what is Alexander going to be doing during this week?
Is this the same week he's getting healed?
Yes. You don't have to spend your entire time inside of the hospital. Like mostly, you didn't get criticals, which means you don't have any penalties to all of your action. Your body just hurts all over.
Fair. I guess he'll spend a lot of his time doing research on this theory that the Emperor came up with to see if there's any other claims, no matter how vague, that could support whatever this dude came up with.
Okay. Go ahead and make some Cosmos check to do some research.
Right.
Okay. So mostly you are. So the only things you're going to get is like vague references to ancient religions of before the Empire, where some people claimed they had created the universe or their gods had created the universe, and some other people claimed to be the chosen people, the people for which the world was created, for which everything was made. All in all, you're getting few references to ancient people, but nothing current that would justify this. So you're not really like making any progress onto the whole like will the world die if you die, because that doesn't seem to be like, it doesn't seem to have been something that's been tested before.
Fair enough. All right.
Okay, so all right, and I think unfortunately Last Effect has left, but that's okay. All right, so one entire week has passed. Bean, are you here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, cool. And Cody is currently off the computer. Okay. Mitya, did you say? Sorry. Did you? What did you say you were doing for the week, Mitya?
I didn't say anything particular. I think I'm going to just work at the bar.
Okay.
In between hours, trying to go back to normal life.
Got it. The Alpha team is gonna be coming to the bar like quite a lot. You get the sense that what's his name? Not Elijah. Samuel. Samuel was their the least favorite team member. Matt seems to consider him he was a bully ever since like they started training together, but they're still like all pretty shaken by the experience. When questioned by other civilians, all of Team Alpha has to offer are very vague answers about how the missions went. You're able to overhear multiple times that they try to recount the events of what happened after they got to Sydney, and their accounts don't really line up. There seems to be like a few incongruities between what they were all perceiving during this entire time. Yeah, so that's what you were going to right.
I just found another talent. Actually, I'm gonna copy paste it into Discord for reference. It's one I was looking for earlier that I couldn't find.
Okay, you might be able to take it the next time you level up, if that's fine with you.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And okay, so Cody is back. So, you are going to get taken back to Central Command. All of your characters are gathered at the same time. Give me 1 second. All of your characters are going to be gathered by what's his name? Gladys Costa. The general, and he's going to be there present with Wilfred.
Oh.
All right.
Hey, I remember this one.
Okay. So Wilfred is present for this meeting. The general is going to start by saying, "All right, we've done as much research as we could to prepare for this mission. And first off, I believe Wilfred had a few words she wanted to say." Wilfred moves forwards and says, "All right, thank you so much, everybody, for robbing the Bank of Paris. I'm sorry we didn't find any files about me, but it's not always about me. So I looked on what you had gotten from Soren's vault, and I was told about the mission, and I realized it might be my fault that there's something going on in New York." Just 1 second. So they take out the ledger, they start to flip through it, and they're like, "Okay, here it is." Okay, so 24th February. I didn't write down the year, but okay. So I was hanging out in New York doing trying to investigate the possibility of my the different bloodlines that had gone through New York, and to see if any of them had similar DNA to mine. To no avail. 2 Quadrillas attempted to jump me, and one of them was called Metatron, the other one was called Engraver. Metatron immobilized me, and Engraver started using transformative powers on both me and the people around me, to use them as fighters and to weigh me down. I'm pretty sure I killed what's her name? Metatron. At least I shot her, and the last thing I saw of her was that she was trying to leave into the shadow, trying to disappear once again by hitting the button on her chest. Now it makes sense that it was what she was using to go to the shadow world. I didn't know back then that. I just thought they were disappearing. Okay, managed to escape, and yeah. So the next day is when the storm started to manifest. It was the day after I was there doing this that the storm started to appear all over New York, and so from what the generals told me, it's slowly but constantly expanding. So there's the Empire is trying to stop it because they think at some point it will take over the entire solar system.
Great.
So I'm coming with you.
Wait, but do you think that you killing the Quadrilla caused this?
I think something I did. There could be more that I did that I just didn't write down, but I think I caused this to happen.
Do
Now,
you remember how you killed the Quadrilla?
I was wielding knives back then, so because I didn't have the armor, so I think I must have just thrown enough knives at her to kill her. Now there isn't a storm like this in Paris after you kill the Quadrilla there, so that's good. It's not just the Quadrilla dying that caused this. Maybe it's because she was dying between in the moment between when she was in the shadow world and the real world, or maybe it's because she died in the shadow world. I don't know, and I'm not even certain that it's like her dying. It might be a shadow power, for all I know. But I wanna investigate, so I'm coming with all of you. Costa says I think Wilfred is going to be a boon to your team, just as long as you're able to prepare for the possibility of their actions not being necessarily as ordered as trained soldiers like you. At least trained soldiers like most of you, he says, and starts eyeing Alistair.
Wilfried, if you're going to come with us, I want to make clear to you that there's going to be orders, and that these orders are going to be followed. Otherwise, this collaboration thing is not going to happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey,
hold on. General, can I be in charge of the mission? I mean, if we need orders to be followed, it's better if I give them, because if somebody else is giving them, I'm not certain I can follow them. Like the general
That's
is
terrible advice.
I understand you completely.
Yeah, see, this guy gets me.
Yeah, so why do we say that you guys make a team, and then we make another team, and then you are both in charge of your team, and so you can give orders to each other, and we sort of counterbalance it without impeding you both by having another team, a more reasonable one.
We need a team name.
Yeah. Oh, a team name would sound great. Okay, so you're already like supposed to be team. Oh,
I'm mostly just.
Hey, how about we call each other the Team Omega?
That sounds good.
Sounds good. Perfect. We're Team Omega.
Oh god.
Okay, everybody gets an extra immersion point. All right, go Team Omega. Okay, so Wilfred is the general is going to say. You're going to have to evaluate the situation there. We have very little data about New York itself. We know that they have a group of about 15 soldiers that's guarding the research team that's researching the phenomenon, and we have no idea what's inside. Please take all precautions when entering this place. It might be that even with your armors, you won't survive the barrier, so be careful.
Oh, don't worry, we'll push Alistair in for...
Where are we going?
In New York.
All right.
Yeah,
There's a big
Mrs.
blue dome.
Sounds interesting. Apparently, you can enter it. So
Yes. So you can also enter black holes. I don't necessarily think that just because you can does it mean that it's a good idea.
fair, but I mean, maybe Wilfred has an idea about.
Do you have any questions? In this case, you're leaving immediately.
Actually, I do have a question. Do we have any more information about this lab other than it's in New York, like underground?
We have the address. It's
okay.
huh?
Okay.
The address was in Soren's file
Okay.
in her vault. So we don't know necessarily what to expect. If we're very lucky, there will be other sort of research that can boost the resistance, just like her armors did.
So it's almost kind of good that it's inside of the storm, because that means it's going to be uncontaminated by other interested parties.
The Empire definitely has not gotten their hands on it. There's always the possibility that the storm is caused by the lab.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good mission. All of you, please return alive.
Cheerio.
Right. So you are sent to the port, and you start to make your way towards towards New York. So,
Did Reese had to go? Sorry.
I think he must have had, because he's just disconnected. I don't. Yeah.
He's still dropped.
Okay. So
I think he did mention it earlier somewhere that he had bad connection.
Okay, I didn't hear that, but it's just something that happens as you're making your way. Like to the port, you are going to be intercepted by Danielle Bales. She sees you on your way. And she's going to come towards you and says, "All right, I've got an idea. If there's something you don't want me to tell the general, just say out loud. We don't want Danielle to say this to the general, right?"
Yeah.
Okay. Because I told the general when you were being attacked by the Imperials, but then I also told him like that you'd gotten away from Admiral Ghaust. Am I wrong, or is this dude just an asshole?
Oh no,
He's just stupid. He has daddy issues.
Also, he totally pretended in front of us that he didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
That you told him about it, you know?
Oh, the general?
Yes. He totally played like completely unknowing.
That's because you were in Central Command, where there's people who could overhear about my ability to see you.
Yeah.
Alexander. So you've been looking into, what the Admiral said, right? About the fact that that the glitches might be special.
Yeah.
You're the only you and the things around you are the only things I can see in the world.
What?
Well,
you might not have heard about me because you weren't there during that mission, but my name is Danielle Bales. I'm a veteran. I got hurt. My eyes were destroyed by a quadrilla beam when I was in New York, and the only thing that I'm able to see, that I've been able to see in the past 24 years was a few months ago, just before Akina left the base, I started being able to see the five of you. Alexander, Cody, Mitya, Alistair, and Zex. And when I saw the research that you were doing, I thought maybe pointing out that I can only see the five of you might help you. I just wanted to let you know.
Certainly good information.
Right. Well, good luck on your mission. I'll keep an eye out for y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, and let us know if something creepy is behind us.
I will try. I don't have. Should I stay by a radio to in touch with you?
Yeah, in fact, go to mission control maybe.
Yeah. If you
Get a
see
job
us getting into a tense situation, it could be useful.
Yeah. In this case, I'll go and do that. I'll let the general know what you're doing. Except if you say out loud, Daniel, better not say this to the general. Right.
Actually, Daniel, I have a question. I might have forgot if you told us already, but your connection is only to our team, right? Not to Team Alpha or any of the other pitches, right?
I'm only able to see Team Alpha when you interact with them. And it's the same thing for Ghost, and I don't see Immortals either. Unless if they're present with you. It's just the five of you for some reason.
That is very strange.
It could maybe there's another person like me who's able to sense Team Alpha. It's.
The question that I'm asking is why are we different from any of the other groups in any way, shape, or form that's not just nomenclature of the rebellion, you know?
I don't know. And I don't even think it's the name of Team Alpha either, because Akina was an official member of Team Alpha and I only saw him when he was in your presence.
Damn. It's really complicated.
Okay. We'll keep it in mind. Thanks for
You're welcome.
stopping by.
I'm glad I can help. So Wilfred is just like, I wouldn't worry about it if I were you.
Yeah, that's precisely why we're going to worry about it. Because you wouldn't. Let's go.
Everybody thinks they're special because there's some, one specific thing that makes them stand out from everybody else in some way or some or other. But that just happens to everybody at some point in their lives.
Dude, that's coming from you?
Yeah, I'm not okay. I'm not special. I know there's like 5 other immortals or something.
Okay, you got us. You're the epitome of normalcy. You can put that on your resume.
Well, I'm sorry. I've just been trying to hold off on adding things to the resume. After a few hundred years, it's gotten a bit too long.
Yeah, and people reading it would be bummed out.
They do.
Yeah, I know. I read your stuff. It's genuinely talentful but disheartening.
Thank
and
you.
You can put that on your resume too. Okay.
Right. Well, if I have other qualities, and if we get into a fight with some assholes, I'll be able to demonstrate those qualities. And I look forward to proving to you that I'm not just a sad writer.
I take a note in my notepad while mumbling very loudly. Okay. Good at attacking asshole. I'm writing out your resume. So far, I've got 3 nice facts to put in the last section.
Can we just go? Alright. So, do you want to do anything on your way to New York?
Can we do some research on the general, like, state of the rest of the city? Maybe?
You have okay, so you have the resources that the Resistance has, which is the plans of back when they used to occupy New York. So you've got a map of New York as it used to be, like 24 years ago.
But like, do we know if there's like the city is still occupied? Right, it's not a ghost city.
It is occupied only by the team who is keeping track of, like, you know, like the phenomenon, the blue storm.
Okay. Maybe we can find a building that we could use as our base of operations that's close to the barrier, but on the other side of the research station of the Imperials.
Base of our operations outside of the storm, you said?
Yeah, kind of like if the base of the Imperials would be here, like their research place, like find one on the exact opposite side.
Yeah. So there's an abandoned hotel that was used by the Resistance as a hospital, which you could make your own if it's still intact enough, based on the plans that you have, which is close enough to the current perimeter of the storm to be able to observe it and to be able to maybe do some recon, but also far enough away that you you wouldn't be in danger of the storm overtaking you during the time of your mission or things like this.
What do you guys think of this one?
I think it's good.
All right.
I'm just holding a conversation with
Wilfred?
Yeah, I think so.
Wilfred?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the two of you talk, and you seem to have like a lot in common. You both have very short attention spans and very chaotic ideas. So, like within an hour of you two being on the Subzeris together, Wilfred has already 3 ideas for pranks to pull on the people of the Subzeris. Do you join her?
I mean, what are the suggestions? I mean,
Okay, so we could pull the alarm and pretend that there's a giant whale attacking us. But whales have been extinct for decades, so that could freak everybody out for just a little bit, and then.
Well, most people might not even know what a whale is, so that probably wouldn't.
Okay. How
Did
about?
we hear that on the comms of our suits?
No, they're not talking
Okay.
through their comms.
Okay.
Okay, we could. Okay, so the comedy is always best when it's used to bring down the elites. So the captain of the ship, okay, so we go out. We go to a room adjacent to her quarters, right? And then we go into the shadow world, and we're in the water while the Subzeris is moving past us. And then we come back, and we're in her room, right? So we sneak into her room through the shadow world, and then we mess up her room. Like we just spray water on her bed and something like that, right? What do you think?
Oh, I already tried something like that. I don't even need to move into the shadow world to get into her room and now this, so that's a little bit boring.
Right. Well, I've always wanted to try to see if the respirator armors are good at like handling huge amounts of pressure from being so deep underwater. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'll see you in a minute. And like Wilfred just heads off towards the captain's quarters.
Have fun. See you later.
All right. So
Can I take some water samples and study the algae?
sure. You go ahead and make a life test to study the algae. Nice. What are you trying to? What sort of information are you trying to obtain?
I just want to compare it to what I know about the algae in this part of the waters. Like I imagine I don't know what this large water stream is called. And I want to see if there's like any like differences throughout the time when the measurement was taken and now to see how the environment is developing. I don't know.
So,
Just sort of curiosity.
strangely enough, the closer you get to New York, the more the amounts of bacteria in the water that have survived the apocalyptic disaster that is Earth right now is growing. It's as if there's more and more life the closer you get to New York, for reasons you don't necessarily
Interesting.
understand.
That is indeed very interesting.
Yeah, it seems like you don't think it can be related to the presence of the resistance there decades ago, because they weren't necessarily doing anything to make the ecosystem recover, and if they were, it wasn't necessarily aimed at microbial life. So,
Can I ascertain if that also would expand to like other living species in the water, like fish, for example? Is there also more fish?
So you're not necessarily able to sample that as well, but if you try to observe it like out of the subsurface, you do think you see more fishes the closer you're getting to New York, and you are also mostly seeing strangely mutated species of fish. You see fishes with two heads, or mixes between, you see a sharktopus at some point.
Nice! Yeah, that's strange. I mean, I would expect that there would be more fish when there's more algae, just because there's more food, but the mutations are weird.
All right, you land.
This sounds like radiation.
It's such a good thing that none of your characters know very much about radiation, apart from the two doctors. So your characters are going to make it all the way to New York, and I'm gonna change the music. Okay.
Are you playing the music on Discord or on Roll?
It's on Roll20, and it's mostly sounds of rain right now. So, you dock in the city in which you were born. Above head, dark clouds are swirling around this strange dome of blue lightning that's covering and illuminating the center of New York. Here and there, you see as the blue flashes across the surfaces, you recall some things from your early childhood. Some of the buildings look familiar, and some of the streets that you pass by they feel like you've walked through them before. The rising water levels have made a lot of the city flooded, as high up as your torso, and making your way through the city is not an easy task, but you are able to make it all the way to the elevated area upon which stands the hospital that you have elected as your base. It is still standing. It is unoccupied, it is also very wet and full of mold everywhere, meaning that your respirated armors just do not let you take off your helmet while you're inside of the of this space to protect you from said mold. There's still a little bit of equipment from the time that the resistance spent here, and you've made it all of this way without encountering a single human life. You have seen multiple fishes roaming the streets. You have seen some birds flying around. None of them getting too close to the blue storm, but overall it's pretty quiet. So, how do you set up your base of equipment?
How close are we to the dome, actually?
You're gonna be like something like 2 kilometers away from the dome.
What's the diameter of the dome right now?
You're gonna have to. Okay, so nobody has perfect measurements, and so I'm gonna ask somebody who's better with miles and kilometers than me to make an estimation based on this image.
Oh yeah. How high are towers?
Huh?
How high are these towers usually?
So this one is the Empire State Building.
Yeah, I think we would be almost at the sort of same distance as the tower, maybe a little bit.
Mm-hmm. No, he wants to know like the perimeter of the. So yeah, somebody can calculate how high the.
7.3.
I'd say it's like almost 1.5 kilometers. Maybe 2. All this math over here.
I'll have it in a second, guys.
All right.
I just estimated it like 2 kilometers, maybe.
See, a lot of the time I'm terrible at miles and distances and things like this, so I
2
rely on.
kilometers is good.
So I
2
rely
kilometers
on
makes
players.
sense. I took the height of the tower and multiplied it by 5, because this is 5 times wider than this, and it's 2 kilometers.
It's
I
2 kilometers
literally
wide.
just
Okay.
thought
Yeah,
the tower
it's
was
2
like
kilometers.
600 something. Figured, look at the tower and just like the visual image, like how many times can I fit it in there? Like 3 times something.
Might be a bit bigger because it's a little bit further away than the tower is, but it's actually 2 kilometers.
Okay.
Okay, that's good to know. So I think we should do some tests with this barrier.
Definitely.
Can we, is it possible to, maybe we should find like a toy car that you can control and like just try to drive through and back and like just have this as an experiment.
Already know that any kind of comms doesn't work. I would suggest just holding something on my rope or something and just chucking it in.
Something on the road sounds fine. Is there rats in the building?
Yes, there is
Like
flash.
a bird or
I'm
something
gonna
else.
try and catch a rat.
What?
I'm gonna try and catch a rat.
A rat. Got it.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Make a death test would be logical. to
I have a
grab
player in a campaign who catches rats all the time. Like
you managed to grab like this very large rat that has one red eye and one green eye, and like you're holding it by one of its 2 tails.
Okay, so put this in a cage, caged on top of a rope, throw it in the barrier, pull the rope back. Is the rat still here? Is the rat still alive? That can be our first test.
pretty good.
Or just change in appearance or something.
Okay. So you're able to build a rudimentary cage. You head off towards the storm. The closer you're getting to it, like the more wind there is just blowing around the buildings. And there's also like arcs of blue electricity just coming from inside of the barrier itself. They just strike the buildings around you, and they're slowly like destroying everything. So just stepping closer and closer to it is dangerous. Which is why like. And all of the water that's the rising sea levels is being blown away by the winds. Wilfred is going to say, "Hey, what if we went through the railway system instead of the very very windy surface?"
That's a very smart idea.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good idea.
Follow me. I think I
Oh,
no, that's not the station I remember, but it's there's a station right there.
if
Oh.
there's actually electricity being produced by this, would an open space or a closed one be more dangerous?
I'm mostly worried about the wind blowing all of us away. The closer we get to it.
Actually,
Yeah.
going down brought me an idea. Am I currently in a space where I can see the whole dome?
Yeah, you can see most of the dome,
Yeah.
but there are still a few buildings in front of you that obscure like your.
Okay, so question.
Yes.
Would it be possible to ascertain if the angle that's hitting the Earth
Mhm.
is exactly 90 degrees? Asking, like, with the trying to figure out how high the center of the circle is.
Mm,
If it's maybe in a tower or maybe underneath. If expecting
Yeah.
that the circle is
nice,
like,
nice. All right. Go ahead and make a
oh.
Cosmos roll with a +10 because that's some very good role play, and some very good thoughts.
I'm gonna refresh roll 20 real quick.
Yeah, I do not see you. Okay. You are able to estimate that the center of the storm is at ground level. You're also, thanks to map, able to ascertain that the center of the storm is not Soren's lab, but rather the plaza that Wilfrid described having fought the quadrillas in.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Let's head through the tunnels.
All right, you start to make your way into the subway tunnels, and after walking in the dark for a little bit, you are going to arrive at a sort of bluish surface that's just cutting through the tunnel. It looks kind of like the Stargate from like
Stargate?
from Stargate, and so like. And there's still electricity like pouring out of it and touching the rails of the subway station, and there's still powerful winds blowing you back, but a lot less than there is at the surface. So you're less likely to like it's still pushing the water away, so that you only have some like down to your feet, but but you are able to make your way all the way to the barrier itself. And by the time you get there, the rat is freaking out.
Yeah. I'm
But
gonna
it's
pick up
in
a
a cage.
piece of... Huh?
But it can't go anywhere since it's in a cage, so.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna start by picking up a piece
More
of rubble
science!
Sorry,
and throwing it in the barrier.
you pick up a what now?
A piece of rubble, like a stone or something, or broken,
Yeah.
and I just throw it at the surface and see
Okay.
what it does.
So an arc of electricity is going to touch it just before it connects with the barrier, and just it keeps going, and the barrier engulfs it and disappears.
And does it make a sound falling on the other side?
You do not hear anything over the winds and the sounds of electricity.
Okay.
How much light is the surface emitting? Is it like a dark light, or is it like
It is-
insane
it-
bright?
It
Like
is.
sunglass bright.
It is Okay, so imagine that you're standing in front of a very large TV screen that's just on the color blue, and that's the amount of light that you're getting from this thing.
Okay.
It's a very generic answer, but also it's when they inevitably adapt the story of this game into a TV show, it will be very easy for the people making that scene to be like, okay, giant blue screen, got it.
Giant blue screens.
I'm sitting here with my blue lamp, like, ooh. I just have a lot of LED lights. I just also put them as background, so it doesn't.
Okay, do we throw the rat into the barrier?
Let's go.
All right,
Go.
you
Sorry,
So
rat.
fucking wrong.
you start to prepare the rat, and you throw it in. You
Yeah,
hear
but
a
like in a way that won't break the cage.
okay, got it.
I'm more than likely I'm gonna just shove it in.
Okay. Okay. You shove it in. You hear a scream of terror just before it stops, and when you pull the rope back, the rope is just cut perfectly into a burnt spot where the cage has where it's touched the wall.
Total annihilation is possible.
Yeah.
Okay. So Wilfried is just getting closer and closer to it, and it's saying, "Fascinating." And they reach out their hand, and the breastplate armor is just popping up to protect them. But so are their claws, which is the main weapon. They have like Wolverine claws coming out of their hand, and as it materializes, she pulls back, and the claws are intact.
I take out my sword
Yeah.
and I throw it through
Okay.
the barrier.
You throw it through the barrier, and it's. Do you call it back to you?
Yeah.
Okay, it slivers back out of the barrier and back to your armor and reforms into your hand.
Do we also hear a sound?
Do
The
we
other
want
side?
to try and take a
do not
look
hear
at
the
the
sound.
thing in the shadow world?
Okay, you move into the shadow world, and it's the same. The scene is exactly the same. The barrier is exactly at the same point, and yeah.
I think we may be able to go in. Because what happened to the rat just seems a bit like ontological shock.
I'm going to try and
Yes.
stick my hand in with my armor on as well.
Okay.
Just a dip, just a dip.
You stick your fingers in. You don't feel any pain. You're able to put your entire hand in it and pull it back, and it's intact. There are
Okay,
arcs
so-
of electricity that touch your armor while you're putting your hand in there, but it doesn't hurt.
Does it do anything with the armor? Does my armor seem to react to it at all?
No. In fact, when you're touching it, your armor that relays all physical sensations does not even register that there's a barrier there.
Okay, I'm just gonna walk in and out.
Okay. You walk in. You arrive on the other side of the tunnel. It's empty and lit up by the same blue light. There doesn't seem to be anything much different apart from one aspect. Your armor has the indicator that's on the top right, that's indicating whether you're in the shadow world or not. That is freaking out. It's turning on and off at incredible speeds.
Okay, I'm gonna walk out and say I'm gonna go into the shadow world inside the dome because I think it's
you cannot
overlap.
You try to press the button to move into the shadow world and nothing happens.
I'm just gonna say, guys, the real world and the shadow world seem to be overlapping here. Does anybody want to try like some shadow power that should not work in this reality?
You say this, but unfortunately your communications are cut between inside of the
Yeah,
sphere
I
and
walked outside again. I walked
Okay.
outside again.
Got it.
Okay. Well, let's do this. I go inside and I cast my shadow power.
Okay. Can you describe to us what it looks like?
Okay. So basically, you see Meteor pop his armor on and enter the barrier. And he starts to concentrate, and after a second, his shadow sort of separates into two and sort of builds up and starts forming in 3D. And all of a sudden, you see two shadowy wolves appear that seem to be made of something close to a foggy texture, but that seem really fucking real. And there's a big one and a small one, and they sort of hover around him, touching the ground, but at times just taking a bit of air time and then coming back down, as if they weren't exactly real.
All right. You are able. You just need to take the time for your creation test to pass, and you are able to cast it and maintain it inside of this strange space. Your indicator is also freaking out and indicating to you that you are in fact in the real world and in the shadow world, seemingly at exactly the same time.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that it's overlapping.
Yeah, I think Wilfried was right. The fact that the Metatron guy might have died between the shadow world and the real world might have caused some iffy fuckery, as we call it in the business.
Just a moment, guys. If I walk outside of the dome and go into the shadow world and walk in, let me just test that real quick. See
Okay.
if you guys can.
Yeah.
You walk out of the dome, you transfer into the shadow world, and when you come back in, you're with the others.
The realities seem to be overlapping here.
Yeah. That's a weird one.
So
Just one quick question. Do we see a rat in a cage?
no, you do not. There
Yeah,
is.
ontological shock.
Yep.
Oh,
So,
wait
is there
a
an
minute.
empty cage or is there no cage or anything?
There is no cage.
Well, I just had an idea. If I remember correctly, Alistair, you had some snacks in your armor. Can you take them out? And see if there's an
I'm not
ontological
going to
shock
open
food.
up my suit, but I can see if I can get something else. Just get like a food pellet out and just like toss it with like a double compartment or something. Just not opening up my entire suit to that.
Yeah. You don't have to open. You couldn't physically open your suit to the shadow world, anyways. The suit would not let you. But you have pockets that you are able to take something out of.
Yeah.
And as soon as you open the pocket, you hear the sound of air from the shadow world rushing in to replace the material that was just destroyed by the ontological shock.
Okay.
Can I be inside of the bubble and pick up a stone and try to throw it outside and then check on the outside? If it's
So
there?
you pick up a stone on the inside. You throw it on the outside, and you re-emerge to find the stone is not there in the in the physical world.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm gonna check if it's in the shadow world, of course.
It is in the shadow world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So returning to the others, yeah, I think if they're overlapping, that would make sense. That you throw the stone and it doesn't appear, like it doesn't completely get destroyed because it's already in the dimension, right?
Yeah,
Something tells me that if we pass the barrier, we also pass to the other world somehow, or something else does.
Yeah.
We don't, but anything else we try and pass through the barrier.
That means that everything that went the way back, that comes inside, would end up in the shadow world also, right? Like the stone that
that's sort of what I'm guessing as well. If we push something outside, it's gonna be in the shadow world. If we try to push something in, it's just gonna
I've got a
turn into
headache.
dust or something.
Okay. And wait a sec. Okay, I'm gonna do something. I'm going to go out of the barrier.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna stand there and go, okay, Danielle, we have discovered something that might well be some sort of a rift between the shadow world and the real world, something like that. We don't have more information. It is very possible that you have seen us disappear. If so, please contact the general and explain to him what I just said to you. If you didn't see us disappear, then it's fine. Just keep on following us. If you see us disappear, tell the general that we've discovered that the dome is a sort of a rift and that we can enter it because of the suits. And I go back in.
Okay. So Wilfred is with you, and he's gonna say, "Cool. That's a very interesting phenomenon. What should we do about the soldiers? You know, the ones that are outside of the bubble. I mean, they're just gonna be there, and it might mess things up for us. Should we?
Why should it mess things up
Let's
for
just
us?
ignore them. We're in the tunnel.
I
Right.
cannot get inside though, right?
Right, but they might cause problems on our way out.
No, if we go out not through them, we should be fine, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should be able to ignore them.
They're not that interesting. Let's just ignore them. This dome is more fascinating.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if they're surveying the area with Coast and Rebirth. They didn't see us coming, so they're just in normal mode.
Ooh.
There's a
I
2-kilometer radius.
I wonder what Coastman Rebirth shows of the inside of this place.
Yeah.
Same. Let's go investigate further into this place. I mean, we're
We-
fine. I'm not gonna try and open my suit if not letting.
I don't like this place. I'm getting a
Oh.
bad feeling.
Okay, so we threw the stone back outside and it came back outside in the Shadow World, so...
Yeah.
Is it fair to assume that it's more likely that they're seeing the Shadow World in Costa and Rebirth, and that would mean that they see us when we're inside and they're looking for us?
I've got no fucking idea.
Do we want to check out what's at the center of this place inside the dome? I mean, we're fine. We can actually exit, unlike all the other people so far. I just say let's just have a look around the dome and maybe go to that address we were looking for as well.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody else seems to be able to enter without their absolute armor, so.
Yeah.
And that's definitely also a job for you, because we should be very careful with the center of the area, because that's probably where the surveying is definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
Probably not in this tunnel, you know, but...
Wilfred, let's go. Team Omega.
Woo! All right, Team Omega on the move.
Wait. Just shouldn't we prioritize the fact of going to the lab first? And
You're
then
going to
the
the lab.
center? We're going to the lab. Okay, nice.
And me and Wilfred are basically going to the center, I guess.
Oh no! Let's not do that. Oh god. Okay. Let's not split up. It's a party.
Okay,
we're
fine.
all together,
Let's
and we just
investigate
split the
the
party.
labs
It's less
first.
fun.
Let's investigate the lab first before we look at the source of the dome, because something tells me we're gonna fuck it up.
That's the spirit. Always
Something
expect
tells
something.
me we're gonna fuck it up.
Yeah, me too.
Quote the
Whether
player.
intentional or not.
All right. You start to make your way across the subway tunnel, and I'm going to need everybody to roll for chaos, please. At -10.
Oh, nice.
Ooh. Okay. Alexander,
Oh, not so nice.
you're making your way through the tunnels. There's a bit of rubble here and there. You're going to notice something. There's this blinking light. It's pretty well concealed. That's coming from like above. When you look at it closer, you can tell that it's connected to a camera. And following the wires, you follow your gaze, and you're able to see that there's lights in the tunnel moving off of the distance. They're being turned off one after the other. You hear rustling and the sound of water getting sloshed through as things are moving. You can hear you can hear what seems to be like hushed voices as positions are being taken. You're not alone in this corridor. There's more people down there, and the only person who's not aware of this is Cody.
Alistair, you should just disappear for a while, just in case.
Yeah, while you're saying that, Alistair's just like, Wilfred, just
Wait, what's going on?
watch this. I have this really fancy trick.
Oh,
Gonna
cool. Show me.
use my camouflage.
Okay. Oh wow.
Do I roll void on that, or
Yes.
like do I
You-
do with my plus 50?
Go ahead and roll for void, and
Oh,
Still make it with plus 50.
okay, with the plus 50 you make it good. And Wilfred is going to spot you. Oh, that's nice. I can barely see you.
Yeah, I mean, go Wilfred. You're like, I'm just gonna high five Wilfred.
So crazy.
I tell Cody, okay, don't panic. We're not alone. Can you see those lights in the distance?
They were all shut down before Cody.
Oh
came.
shit. Okay, so
No.
we're not alone. They were lights in the distance.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
post it into walls.
Right. So, Alistair, you're now stealthed. How are you going to handle this?
I'm just gonna say, like, Wilfred, I know you can see me, but the rest can't. Probably. Let me just take a peek ahead to see what's exactly over there.
Okay. You start to move over there, and you're going to you're making your way, and you're going to pass by like a couple of like soldiers that have old carabines. They're all wearing very raggedy clothes, shoddy equipment. Like none of them seem to be in good health at all. They're all like skin and bones, but they are acting like soldiers. They are well trained. They are moving with an intent, and you can see that like they're basically trying to like secure the perimeter in which you all are standing right now, and there's a lot of like apprehension and confusion with them right now. They're like, what the fuck is going on? And you I'm gonna need you to roll for Cosmos for me, please.
They're fucking resistance, I'm sure.
See, yeah, I'm saying like Wilfred. Do you know you can? Through the comms, like I see people.
Yeah. You rolled 100.
Wow.
They are they're Imperials for sure. You do not recognize any of their faces. They're all Imperials.
Get. Okay. Guys, I think they are resistance. I'm pretty fucking sure. Should we
I'm
out
not gonna
ourselves?
say that these guys look suspicious and sort of old school, but Wilfred, what was your previous experience here? Like, Alistair doesn't trust it, what he sees anyway, so he's just gonna stare at them like, how many are there? 2 or?
There's like 10 of them in the tunnel.
Can I use my... The suits have night vision, right?
Not if you haven't taken the upgrade. night vision.
Okay. Damn.
So
You have
can I
lamps.
just-
Yeah.
What? Oh yeah, I can just communicate through my suit without them hearing with all the
Yes.
with my silent thingy upgrade, I guess.
So
I'm just gonna say, guys, shout through the tunnel that, yeah, shout something through the tunnel. There's like soldiers here. I don't know who they are or whatever. They're pretty old school and they don't look very healthy. So
How many of them?
there's like 10 of them, but I'm not entirely sure if they're exactly hostile because they just look really confused.
Wilfred is going to say the following. So the last time I was here, this whole place was, they changed it back to an Imperial prison, to what it was before Finlandfinger destroy the thing, and they were just keeping like prisoners from all over the solar system in here. If so, after the blue storm hit, those things might have changed. It might not be a prison anymore.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say to comes like, at ease, we're just here looking at what the fuck is going on in this place. We have no business with whatever. Just like, just tell them we're friends somehow. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't care how you do it. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna continue on the tunnel. They haven't seen me yet. I'll see you guys somewhere.
Got it. So you communicate with radio, and you can see one of the operators who's like further down in the tunnel, just like stands up and moves towards the group. He's going to tap one of them on the shoulder and says, "Hey, they communicated with the radio. They're saying they don't really care about us. They're just here to explore stuff." You see the person who was being talked to is like going to stand up and say, "Who are you? Show yourselves!" And in that moment, you recognize this person. He might have an eye less than when you saw him earlier today, and he might have a leg sewn off, but it still is your general.
Gladius Costa.
And that's where we're going to end for today.
Parallel worlds, different versions of this to break.
All right.
Can you guys see the lamp, by the way? I mean, I have so many LED lights. I'm just having the time of my life.
Yeah, I could see you playing with those like the entire time. Anyways,
Yeah,
Please
like,
continue, it's great.
this is always this entertainment. I mean, half the time during quarantine, like, I have these group calls and people just like, yeah, they just need to talk and have some fun. And just like, everybody has these gray and white backgrounds, and like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
I had a ton of fun. I tried to convince you as much as I could that the Empire might not be the worst people. And by the way, the books are always prepared for the idea that some of the players might decide to join the Empire and like leave the Resistance. So that's always an option. Of course, it's more of an option with me because the books basically said it was an option, but didn't really prepare for that to be the case in any way. I also really liked all of y'all's roleplay. I'm starting to feel like the characters are really people and things like this. And I am proud of you for being able to separate your meta knowledge of, yes, the world of Sens exists for the glitches, because that's why we're playing with the rest of reality, with the rest of what you're experiencing. But yeah, it's a pleasure as always. I hope you've had as much fun as I've had, and I'll see you all next week.
Yeah, sure.
It was really nice.
I'm pretty.
Hi everyone, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to keep up with all of the adventures on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so you can get a notification each time we upload the next episode of this story. And it would be very nice of you to like and share the video to help this channel grow. Have a nice day everyone.